Hope you're all well. Firstly, I just want to say I'm really sorry if I haven't got back to everybody today. I've had a really busy day, and I've been inundated with so many messages. Um, I will try and reply to everybody, but I just want to make it clear that I am not doing these videos to try and bring a mob group together. You know, this isn't a witch hunt. This is basically damage control. I've had, for the last 8 years, a group of men within the independent film industry trying to spread lies about me and making up bullshit. And to be honest, if it was just like one or two random little dickheads, I wouldn't give it the time of day. But unfortunately, this was all stemmed from the Roofed film back in 2017. I literally fell out with a guy called Clark Tribe, and he went all out to try and spread lies about me. Then in 2019, another man that he was connected to ended up assaulting me, and from that day on, 2018, I have had endless strangers. Like, these are not people I'm connected to or know. They are people that are connected to these men who think it's okay to talk about me on public walls and make up reputations about me that aren't true. So over the last 7 years, I've been putting out little bits and evidence and stuff just to show exactly what's been going on. And for some reason, there just seems to be, I'd say it's more than a handful of people that choose to still stand by these men. And I was racking my brains like, what the hell is going on? But now I've kind of worked it out that, you know, cut from the same cloth, these people think the same. So yeah, basically, Mason Fardo is the one at the main instigator at the moment. A lot of the other guys that were hanging around Dave Courtney and that, they've all sort of crawled back under their rocks over the last few years. I think since all my stuff's come out and I've proven exactly what these men have been doing by showing video evidence and footage and screenshots and excuse me, just so much stuff, like it's kind of become apparent what exactly is going on. So basically, if I hadn't met up with Dave Courtney in 2017 and allowed him to be a part of the production of Roofed, I would have never met half of these people. So I have a major regret now. I mean, when the assault first happened, I didn't really blame Dave. I wasn't like, yeah, okay, they knew him, but it's like you can't help people and what they do. So I never blamed him. But since seeing the video that I put online a couple of weeks ago about Dave saying he'd rather be a rapist than a grass, that's really fucking infuriated me, because for 6 years I was talking to Dave behind the scenes and he was telling me that he didn't know any of these men, and you know, Aaron Twin and Clark Tribe, they were just dudes that came up to his parties and jumped in photos. He didn't have a clue who these people were. Well, since then I've found out that that's not true, and everybody connected to Dave Courtney knows exactly what these men's backgrounds were and what they're like. It's everywhere. I mean, the snippet that I put out about Dave Courtney was aired years ago, before I even met Dave. I just didn't know it was out there. So basically, when I came out about the sexual assault and tried to get help, there was a selective few within the independent film group that basically wanted to just go around the internet, call me a liar, say it didn't happen, yet they'd never met me, didn't know anything that had happened that night, and they still decided to take the word of a guy that, let's be fair, they don't even really know. It's all Facebook. You know, everybody's linked into little groups and pages on Facebook, and then they think they're friends, and then one of them gets a problem and they think, oh, actually, I want to get in with this guy, so I'm going to jump in and I'm going to give her shit and I'm going to call her a fucking liar. Yeah, that's the sort of people we're bullying, like the little bullies, you know, on the playground, the flying monkeys, I call them. So over the last few years, since I've been sharing all this stuff and speaking up, a lot of them, like I say, have crawled under their rocks. But there's still the odd few. Christopher Smith, who you know I've just sued in court. I ended up winning that case. I only got about £1,000 out of it. It weren't really worth my time, but it's put an injunction on the arsehole now, so he can't continue to play his little games with me online. Now, since 2017, I've put a lot of effort into bringing productions together, writing scripts, giving people roles, meeting people. Some people have been absolutely amazing to work with, but unfortunately, anybody that seems to be linked to the gangster tour buses or what was it, the UKBK boxing. You know, they're very violent, angry, frustrated people. They don't even really like themselves or each other. But they just use me as a muse sometimes to gang up and talk, because it gives them something to talk about. So since 2017, I've been creating a production company that helps aspiring actors. We don't charge money, everything's collaborative. I put in the time and effort, more time than the actors, because obviously my work isn't finished when I come off set. I have to then spend days editing and putting everything together, and then rearranging more productions and putting that all together. So for these men to go out and try and create lies about me around the internet within the industry just to ruin my life, so, you know, if they can't have it, I can't have it, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not fucking putting up with it. I'm really not. So I'm going to show you exactly who these people are, and you can make your own decisions whether that's the sort of person you want in your crowd. But I'm getting really sick of people thinking that they can come into my side of the industry and work with me when they've got these men on their Facebook, and they're continuing to be friends with these people when there's enough out there now to say what these men have done. Not only that, I've had quite a few messages today regarding people like Mason Fardo. It turns out I'm not the only one that he likes to bully, so it seems a bit of a pattern with this person, which is blatantly obvious. So yeah, quickly, Mason Fardo, his first film he ever did was Roofed. If you look at his IMDb, you can see here he's got 2 credits for Roofed. In that, then he did the drugs game with Clark Tribe. That was after I fell out with Clark, and Clark decided to take half my crew and cast and make his own film. Out of spite, really. It was kind of like, you know, when they try and ostracize you, it's like I wouldn't put up with what he did. I didn't let him cross my boundaries, so he decided to take the whole cast and crew, make up lies about me, and make his own film. That's fine. I continued to do my thing. But they didn't like that, and then what they've continued to do is, I don't think Clark did anything after that. I think he went to prison. Apparently he's been done for attempted murder and stuff in the past. Like, I never knew this at the time. This is all stuff I've found out once I've done my research on the people that have been trolling me. You kind of see the reputation that they have and the people that they hang around with. You know, you judge by the friends you keep, and they're not the sort of people I want to be around. Like, really violent, vulgar, disgusting people. They're all in their 50s and 60s, most of them, you know, like say they were the bullies on the playground, just haven't grown up. So yeah, Mason likes to go around telling everybody he's a well-established actor. He was lucky enough to get on a Guy Ritchie show called The Gentleman. That seemed to go right to his head. And now he's telling people all sorts of cons. He's got all these films that he's making that never seem to happen. He's got some sort of AI company online that he's trying to tell people that he's got some art business or some clothing business or something like that. Like, and it's all AI. It's all bullshit. He's a con artist. Not only that, he's putting himself out as a singer, and that's also AI, because you can tell it's a jazz black man's voice. It's not an English white man's voice. You can tell the difference in the style of the tone of the voice. But yet some people are believing this man's bullshit and then continuing to believe his lies about me, which is wow. But yeah, no, I think where people, they sort of go where their bread's buttered, don't they? And if they think that Mason's going to get them into fame, or he's going to help them get into a movie or something, of course they're going to go that way. But I'm getting sick and tired of people thinking that they can talk about me to Mason in public groups when they don't even fucking know me, just to get up his ass. It's pathetic. So yeah, damage control, guys. I'm not doing these videos to get a mob together or anything like that. I'm not interested. I am literally outing these people for the bullies that they are, and to talk a little bit about what they put me through over 7 years. It wasn't just one narcissistic person, it was hundreds. And because they were all connected to Dave Courtney, people looked up to Dave Courtney, people liked him. Maybe they didn't see the video I shared earlier. Maybe they did see it. I don't know. But some people, the way they think about sexual assault and the way the police have been responding to young girls at the moment, I give up with the world, guys. So, as most of you know that follow me, over the last sort of 2 years, I've been having to deal with the justice system. And this Chris Smith that came onto the set of Refit 3, he basically decided to try and steal the film 3 times, roping, like putting it on IMDb and tagging all the actors in it. So everybody was quite aware that this guy was doing this. And anyone that's a filmmaker and knows what it's like to be involved in the production, you know how much time goes into the pre-production. And for someone to just come along and think that they can steal your story, your script, you know, all the scene plays and everything, all the locations you put together, like this guy literally did nothing on the production side to it, apart from come on set for a day with a camera. And he tried to take the whole film. So yeah, in a nutshell, I sued him in court, in the High Court, and he had to pay. It was only about £1,000 I got out of him, but the most important bit was the injunction. So he's not allowed to do it again. If he does, he could be looking at prison. So yeah, that was a bit frustrating, to be honest. The fact that I'd spent like 1.5 years, 2 years putting this all together and spending money on getting justice. Apart from the injunction, I don't really feel like I got justice, because this guy was sadistic. He literally teamed up with my rapist and my rapist's best mate, Aaron Twin, and they set out to cause me so much trouble with Mason Fardo and Clark Tribe. And then you had all these little like gangster grannies getting involved, you know, like 50, 60-year-old men that looked up to these boys, and they were basically jumping on the bandwagon just to get attention from them. So it's like, it's absolutely insane. And I just believe that if I hadn't got involved with Dave Courtney and he hadn't been involved in the filmmaking, I wouldn't have met half of these people. That's how I feel. And I'm disgusted to see what I've seen recently, with knowing that these people know, they knew exactly what these men were like. They know about the past criminal convictions and the drug taking and, you know, all the stories that you see. I mean, some of these stories are in newspapers, so people can't say they weren't aware of it, but they still decided to jump on the bandwagon and give me shit and, you know, call me a liar. And, you know, that's the worst thing, is when you've been sexually assaulted and you ask for help and then you get a group of people calling you a liar. I mean, it's like being raped a second time. I genuinely believed that these people's opinions are counted at the time, but now I've looked at them and their lifestyles, I've realised they're just, like I say, cut from the same cloth. But yeah, it's definitely changed me as a person. I used to be quite a naive, giggly, fun, outgoing person. Now I'm very dodgy with who I trust, because I've seen people change in a heartbeat. I've been out with people that I've known for a year and thought I could trust them, and then they've punched me in the face and forced themselves on me. And then the next day gone around to tell people I'm a liar and it didn't happen. So that really does something to a person. But yeah, now I'm learning about the narcissistic abuse and everything that goes in with that. I'm starting to come to my own ideology that we live on a planet full of human beings, but we're not all human. And some spirits are just so dark and evil that, you know, kind of like a chaos demon. That's what they do. They just go out to cause chaos. Now, a lot of these men, when you look at their posts, they've got children in their Facebooks. You know, they're playing the doting uncle or granddad or dad. But when you actually get to know the person, you realise that they're not what they say on the tin. And that's been the problem for these people, especially Mason Fardo, is I can see straight through his bullshit. I can see everything that he's putting up online is bullshit. You know, charging people to audition for films and saying the money's going towards the Heart Foundation. I actually did a little check on that. I rang the British Heart Foundation and they weren't aware of any money going to that charity. They also said that they wouldn't be happy with that kind of style genre of film collecting money for the British Heart Foundation. And then miraculously after that, Mason didn't go through with that. Apparently it was all cut down and he had to give people's money back. So I'm kind of thinking maybe that's what happened. Maybe the charity got onto the ticket office and realised that this man, Mason Fardo, who was collecting money for the British Heart Foundation, well, the money wasn't really going to the British Heart Foundation. So yeah, that was just one of the little scams that he's got up to. Then, like I say, pretending to be a singer and pretending to be a model and pretending to be an actor and telling people he's making films and stuff. And it just blows my mind and makes me so fucking angry that people believe his shit and continue to believe his shit and then try and call me a liar just because it doesn't suit their narrative. Because I'm not going to fuck with them. It's better for them to fuck with Mason. You know what I mean? Oh, well, you know, we won't listen to our shit because he can do something for us. So you go where your bread's buttered, don't you? And that's just the vile people that I have to deal with. So yeah, 2017, I had this idea of setting up a production company to help aspiring actors. I kind of realised there was this loophole that, you know, you can't get an audition without a show reel, and you can't really get a show reel without a part in a movie, because that's what a show reel is. You're collecting the parts that you've done. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to like put a collaborative production company together where everybody from all walks of life with all different skills on the film set can come together on projects and make movies for nothing. Well, less to nothing anyway. It does cost me a bit to like feed people and put people up and locations and things like that. But if you can get the main of it on a collaborative, you know, not everyone's got to be the best actor. You know, there's ways of helping each other get the best out of each other. So I kind of imagined it like to be like an adult drama school, just to help people that can't, you know, a lot of adult actors have to work full-time jobs and they don't get to auditions sometimes. It can be quite frustrating. So yeah, I'm not putting myself out there as a, you know, a Hollywood actress or somebody that's trying to make it in the film world. That's not me at all. I've got too much responsibilities at home with the kids, and paying bills and stuff to be dreaming like that. So yeah, this for me is a hobby. I love putting my skills to making movies as a hobby, and I also love learning off other people, because if I'd have never got involved with certain productions, I would have never learned what went on behind the camera and stuff. And to be honest, nowadays I actually prefer to be on production rather than on camera. But a couple of times we've put productions together, an actress has let us down last minute and I've had to step into the role, which is actually a lot more stressful because I've got enough to be doing. I don't need to be learning lines and stuff as well. So yeah, it can be quite frustrating, but when you get the right team together, it can be amazing. So yeah, this is not a witch hunt, guys. It's damage control. I'm so sick of people telling me to be the bigger person, just ignore what they're doing, ignore what they're saying, because it is damaging when people start to believe it. And unfortunately, because of Dave Courtney, there are some good people that used to follow those kind of people. It's not that they're bad people, it's just, I don't know, it's a fetish, isn't it? Like the whole craze thing and everything. So yeah, it's just a shit situation really when you've got somebody as vile as Mason Fardo after you in your career. And they can't just have it on one-on-one with you, do you know what I mean? They have to sort of get loads of people involved that you don't even know, and then you feel like you're constantly trying to sort of argue your reality. And that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to change the script, and I'm not going to allow that to happen. So every time they do something, I will screenshot, upload, share my story. And like I say, you end up getting other people come to you and say, you know, you're not crazy actually, because this person has done it to me. And like I say, if you want to see all the other stuff, it's on my YouTube channel. I've been sharing it now since, oh God, it's been years. There's got to be at least 4 or 5 years worth of crap on there. And you can just see like these men sort of portray themselves as good people on their profiles. But when you see what they actually say to you in private messages and what they get up to, you realise they're not what they say on the tin. Anyway, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to get some sleep. You have a lovely evening, and I will see you very soon.